the imposter syndrome that we mostly carry around. And to take us and moderate this session, we have with us today a passionate young lady who is carried away by women empowerment and community engagement. She's an active Me Hemaa, very active member of the Me Hemaa community. Renee Metel-Nuno is a graduate of the University of Ghana. She holds a BSc in biology and science. Her commitment towards personal development, growth, led her to Toastmasters International, where she has served for many years and built enough experience to currently be the area director under the Division C, where she actually oversees 5 clubs. This shows that Renee, beyond being committed and engaged, is all fired up for her growth and then her leadership. She is the executive assistant of a CEO for a financial institution, and she continues to aspire to leverage on her science knowledge. So I want to encourage you all to look up for this young lady, a scientist in the making. Hopefully, Renee, in a few years, we will be calling you Dr. Renee Metel-Nuno. The session is all yours, Renee. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kadi. Hopefully, very soon. Thank you for the warm introduction. A very warm welcome to you all, ladies and gentlemen, queens, to the second Me Hemaa Conference, Me Hemaa Conference 2024. And like Kadi introduced, my speaker will be speaking on the theme, Nurturing Confidence and Demystifying Impostor Syndrome. And before I introduce her, I'd like to suggest that when you have a question, there's a Q&A box. If you're using your phone, at the top where you see the leave button, it's right by it on the left. And if you're using your laptop, it's somewhere at the bottom of the Zoom page. While the speaker is speaking, if you have a question, you can drop your question in there. And my speaker today is Ama Duncan. She loves to help businesses. Wait, can you hear me and can you see me? I saw a message that said the video is off.
We can see you, but it was frozen for a bit, but we can see you and hear you clearly.
Okay, great. Now to introduce my speaker. Ama Duncan loves to help businesses and individuals thrive. She has facilitated several leadership development programs, and her credentials, or she's credentialed by the International Coaching Federation as a professional certified coach, and has coached hundreds of leaders in Africa, Europe, and the United States of America. She is the founder of the Fabulous Woman Network, which conducts events to help its over 5,000 members thrive, and the Fab Hub Ashanti, a residential learning and event space in Kumasi. She speaks on radio, television, and conferences like this. Ama has authored 3 books. She's a former Access Bank W ambassador, a 2022 Opportunity Collaboration Fellow, and a 2017 Mandela Washington Fellow. Dear queens and king, Papa, if there are any other kings here as well, please help me welcome to the virtual stage our speaker, who will be speaking to us on Nurturing Confidence and Demystifying Impostor Syndrome. Ama Duncan. Over to you, Ama. Take us away and wow us.
Thank you very much. Now, aren't you adorable? I nearly said adorable. And this is not because I'm from Kumasi, please. Greetings from Kumasi, all of you. And it will be lovely to know where you are all joining us from. So thank you very much, Papa. Thank you, Sika, sorry, Dr. Susie, and everyone else who has spoken. And I have loved listening. I met the tail end of Yawa's presentation, and then I sat through Sika's, and I was just loving it. I hope I get to watch the replay of both because they were both fantastic and with a lot of nuggets. So I'm going to check the chat. I really would like to see where you are all joining us from. So I know I am not alone because I would have loved to see who I am with. Thank you very much for this opportunity to speak on nurturing confidence and demystifying imposter syndrome. It's interesting that this is the topic that I was given. So what are we going to talk about in the next 45 minutes? We'll talk about what really it is, and I'll use some examples to explain. And then we'll talk about some common myths surrounding imposter syndrome and strategies to nurture confidence and overcome imposter syndrome. I'm still looking out in the chat to see where are you watching from, unless I'm not looking in the right chat. I know there are quite a number. Okay, so first, let me share a few stories to explain what imposter syndrome is. I'm going to show a picture. This picture, I saw this. I don't have the original. This one, I picked it from Facebook. In April 2021, I saw a post on Facebook. Someone tagged me in a comment saying, "Congratulations, Ama." And then I went to look at the picture, what it was about. And there was this Millennium Excellence Awards thing, and I was a nominee. I saw it and I pretended I hadn't seen it. I just quietly, just forgot about it. I didn't even comment. I didn't respond to the comment. A little later, same day, someone else said congratulations and then mentioned my name. So, I really had to be polite and say something. So I said thank you, and then also responded thank you to the original person, and then quietly left the scene as if nothing had happened. And then I think in that same week, someone took a picture of either Daily Graphic or Mirror or something. And this particular picture was in there. Look at Otumfuo, Nana Akufo-Addo, and then all these people. And then somewhere in there, this bald-headed girl was also in there. And then what even got to me was recognizing excellence in Ghana. I took a look and said, these people, do they know who they are talking about? I don't belong with these people. Like, let me show you in my category, these were the women that they were honoring. Look at them, ladies. Dr. Joyce I. Mrs. Esther Koba, Miss Esther Koba, and Aisha. I looked at them and I said, no, I'm not even going to respond to this. So to be honest, I didn't even have the courage to show this to my family. I didn't show it to anyone. I didn't celebrate it. I felt embarrassed. I felt like, come on, seriously, look at these people and look at me. And this was 2021. There's another scenario. I was invited, so I live in Kumasi. I've lived here for 16 years. I was invited by IMF, the IMF. The then IMF boss was Christine Lagarde, was coming to town, was coming into Ghana, and they wanted to invite 15 women, outstanding women leaders. Okay, can you hear me all right? Is everything okay?
Yes.
Okay, so they were inviting 15 women, and guess who was added? Ama Duncan. And then I remember, so this is a picture of me, looking mesmerized at something I don't know. But this was me sitting next to her. This lady, I forgot her name, forgive me, but she handles, it's no more National Science and Maths. She's a big deal. So I was in the middle of these big deals. Bank of Ghana, Deputy CEO was there. Someone from Ministry of Finance, where I did my national service, all these top women, Jean Mensah, the EC boss. And then I was also there. And I remember sitting at the table, looking around at these women, beautiful, with their nicely manicured nails and everything, looking at all these fabulous women and thinking, are they all as broke as I am? Literally, that was the question that came to me. Because I looked at myself, I wasn't rich enough to belong to these people. I hadn't done anything enough to belong. These were beautiful women. You could see their hair, their dressing, and I felt out of place. I didn't know at this time that there was something called imposter syndrome, but apparently that was what I was going through. But think of it this way. IMF is not a joking organization. If they decide they are inviting people, they know who they will go for. So why was I sitting there thinking that I didn't belong? Is it that was I thinking of them as, oh, they are just joking and they wanted to embarrass me? I don't even understand now when I look back. And I was sitting there thinking, oh, they should have called this other woman and that other woman. I was in my head. I knew all the other women who should have been at that table except me. I thought I didn't belong there. And then I found out through a book what imposter syndrome actually means. But before I go into the meaning, I want to ask these 3 questions on the screen. Number 1, have you ever received an honor, like an award, and thought you didn't deserve it? Have you ever written an exam and guessed you'll get a really low grade, but when the results came, you excelled to your own surprise? Do you sometimes doubt the praise you receive and think, oh, they're just saying it to be nice? It's not really true. If any of these resonates with you, let us know. And if you are happy to feel vulnerable and share, let us know. I'm just quickly going to go through the comments to see. Okay, it's quite, oh yes. So I see a few people. I see someone said Cape Coast, England, London, thank you. Right. So apparently there is such a thing called imposter syndrome. And I found out while I was reading this particular book. I mean, I think I had heard of the term before, but I didn't really know what it was. It was Rachel Rodgers' book. And please bear with me. I love reading. I had my breakthrough in life through reading. God used reading to minister to me. And so a lot of the things I'm going to share are things I found in books, and I will even tell you the books I found them in and how I'm applying them. So it was Rachel Rodgers' book. If you've read this, then you know this is one of the most amazing books ever written. We Should All Be Millionaires. That book, I was using the Audible version. So I used to listen, and it was like, her voice was in my ears. It just wouldn't let me go, We read this in the Fabulous Woman Community 3 or so years ago. But it says that, and permit me to read from the screen, I wanted us to see what these 2 ladies who came up with it, Pauline Clance and Dr. Susan Imes, I don't know, maybe Imes. This was back in 1978. I wasn't even born then. This is when they termed or they coined this word imposter syndrome. So Clance and Ames conducted a study on high achieving women. They found that an astonishing number of these women felt inadequate, inferior, perceived themselves as phony or fraud, despite truckloads of evidence indicating the exact opposite. Although not a mental illness per se, it's often accompanied by anxiety, stress, depression, and low self-esteem. And I had to smile when the word phony and inadequate, when they just popped in my head. And I remembered a conversation with Coach Sika. So Sika mentioned that she coached me. I mean, she's still one of the people I would go to when I need that kind of support. And I remember in one of our sessions, and Sika, I'm sharing this because I was the client, so I think I have I'm able to talk about what we spoke about. I remember one of the exercises Sika gave me was to rate myself in some areas. I think 1 out of 10 or so. And in most of the categories, I would give myself a 2, a 3. I think the highest I gave myself was a 5 out of 10. And in fact, for some of them, I would have gladly given myself negative 80 because I thought I was so low as compared to, think about it, as compared to who? Always external, somebody outside, and never internal, or never as compared to what I did yesterday. It was always looking at someone else. And I remember Sika looked at me, and I remember that look of surprise on her face. She said something to it, but Ama, you've done so much and you belittle it. You see it as nothing. I know we are not talking about low self-esteem here. That's a subject for another day, but this is an expression of imposter syndrome. And this was something that I used to battle as a person. Now, so basically, why does it even matter? Why is this conversation necessary? Why is it important to me? Because you know what? Imposter syndrome for some of us is the reason our confidence is not shining. As we know deep down, it will be able to, or even others will know. Jennifer said something. Hi, Coach Jennifer. Jennifer said something that if she had the kind of, was it confidence that Papa has in you? You were saying that. And I'm like, yes, I feel like that too. Sometimes, like, I have these mentors who see me and it's like they're going crazy because they see I can do amazing things. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, what are they saying? I don't see, like, literally, people sometimes say thank you and I don't know what I've done. I wish, or Ama, especially this statement, Ama, you're doing well. I wish they would tell me specifically, what is it? Because sometimes, you know what? I don't see myself the way people are. I'm like, what's the big deal, really? But this is sometimes the cause, imposter syndrome. I know about asking for your worth. I was in an employment that now in hindsight, my goodness, I worked. I remember when my husband and I first lived together, he saw me work so much. He was like, I have never seen a woman that works hard more than you. I had 3 jobs at the time. I mean, I was just working because working was what I knew that, oh, this is how you make money, But I would never ask for a raise. I had worked in that organization for about 6 years when we got a consultant to come and do the pay structure. I've forgotten how it's called now. I've forgotten some of my HR. I used to be in HR, actually. And they saw my salary and they were surprised that I was in HR. At a point, I headed the HR department. And my salary was so little, my allowance was like 10% of, actually less than, maybe like 5% of what my cohorts were getting. And I never once opened my mouth. One time, actually, one of our general managers called me, Ama, people are always coming into my office asking for more money. How come you never ask? And then I was like, oh, I want to earn it. That was just half truth. Come on. I was working hard. I was given I worked so hard and I worked really well to the point that something that the company I was working for was new. That branch was new. There were other branches in Accra and in different parts of the world that had been there way, way before. But when I came to that organization, I took our values, our corporate culture, everything, and I implemented it, of course, with the support of the entire organization and the GM. But I implemented it in a way that in Ghana we say krabeshe. People were awed. Do you know that they brought, first of all, even before they sent me to Nigeria to go and do a presentation to the board of how I was doing it. What was this I was doing in Ghana that everyone was talking about? I became even an envy because, come on, you just came. But I was running with it because I was so passionate about the work. I used to think about it, always want to do the best. After I went to Nigeria to do the presentation, they sent all the HR managers and training managers from all these places to come to Kumasi to study what we were doing. Ask me why I couldn't ask for more money. And at that time, my salary was so little, it was painful. It's making me want to tear up. I didn't know that there was something called imposter syndrome, and it was, hanging around in my thoughts. That same thing, it can affect you pitching for a contract. You feel like, no, I'm not good enough to take that. Or whatever I have is not good enough. And I've done a lot of reading and research, listening to videos and all about this, and it would amaze you some of the findings. It's crazy. But this is what imposter syndrome is doing to some of us, especially women, including myself. It's one of the reasons I needed a coach, and it's still one of the reasons I need support. And what I'm going to do is to, first of all, share some of the myths. There are quite a number of myths, when it comes to imposter syndrome. And I just wanted to share 4 of these. 4 of these. 1, only inexperienced and incompetent people experience it. So when you are actually feeling like this, you feel like, actually, it is true because I'm not good enough, because I haven't done enough. I don't have this education enough. You actually believe it. And so we think that it is for those kind of people who are new, they are yet to form their confidence and everything. But actually, it will amaze us all to know the studies that have been done to show that CEOs, celebs that we know, and I'll show a few examples in the presentation, they have come out publicly to say that actually they are struggling with imposter syndrome. Then the second myth I wanted to talk about is, oh yeah, it's a sign of weakness. No, it's not. Because even the people that we think are superstars, high achievers and all these, they also experience it. It's not about how much they've achieved. The whole world, we can be going around saying, oh my God, you're amazing. And they are there thinking, oh my God, I am such a waste of God's resources. Forbid. Let's see 2 others. Actually, let me pause. I feel like maybe there's something I need to see. I'm just checking the presentations. And please now prompt me if I need to pay attention to the chat, okay?
Sure,
So,
I'll do that.
Sure, thank you. Another myth, oh, you can simply snap out of it or get over it. You know how we feel that we are about some of these feelings, even outside of this context, when someone is grieving or something, like, oh, get over it. Like we think I actually used to do that to myself too. I feel like my feelings don't matter. I should just snap out of it. Get over it already, without understanding that a lot of these things are actually ingrained. It is not something we just got up and started saying. We believe it. It's in the very core of our being. And I even recently found out that there's such a thing as, I forgot the term, but it's generational, because we are getting this DNA from our parents and their parents. So some of the things that they had to deal with, our bodies even react to it without having gone through the experience. So it's not something that you just sit and say, snap out of it. No, it takes a lot of work. And I'll share with you some of the work that I have practically done, or I am still doing, even including today, to help me get over some of these, as Sika calls them, limiting beliefs. And the final one, imposter syndrome only affects women or minorities. This is quite common. And I know that I actually even also used to believe that it affects women only, because remember, I actually chanced on the term imposter syndrome through Rachel Rodgers' book, which is We Should All Be Millionaires, and it was talking about women. So I actually thought, oh, this is a women thing. No wonder we women are like this. And apparently, no, it can affect us all. Maybe, and I don't know the studies, maybe men see it differently or respond differently, because actually there are some studies to, what's her name? Sheryl Sandberg gives an example of how they were going to write an exam in her TED Talk. She talked about a certain exam she her friend and her brother were going to write a particular paper, say physics. Her friend studied really, really well. She was like the shark. What in Ghana would say is the shark. She did somewhat studying. The brother didn't study at all, but the night before came to them and said, you know what, you guys teach me this. And then just did some crash learning within the night, right? Now they go and write the paper. After they are done, Cheryl goes, oh my God, I am totally going to flunk this paper. The other lady, who is the shark, also says the same. And the boy who just came one night, and the two ladies taught him, says, oh, I'm totally going to crash it. So I'm not saying that, okay, men are always, they are always able to overcome or whatever, but I think that there's been a few studies that goes to prove that they handle it quite differently. Okay, so I've talked about the myth. Now, let's go to the strategies to nurture confidence and overcome imposter syndrome. Some people think that I am a confident person, and I can only say to God be the glory. As for talking, my sisters and a brother listening to me, I have always been a talkative. When I was in school, my name always appeared on that beautiful names of talkatives. To the extent that I am sure there were even days that I didn't come to school and my name appeared because Ama can talk. One colleague said, hey, Ama Oprah Winfrey, and then just clapped her hand like that because I can talk for Ghana. Someone said I can actually represent Ghana in a talking competition. As I sit here, I've set my alarm because if I don't, I can just keep talking and talking. So if you look at me and the fact that, oh, I know how to talk or I talk, and because of that you think I'm confident, no. Somebody also said, oh, even the way you've cut your hair is because you're confident. I'm like, no, it has nothing to do with confidence. I do a lot of work, like a lot of us here, to improve on my confidence. And there are times that, as we say in Ghana, chale, it is not easy, but there are ways. All this, what I'm saying is just to let you know that if you are here listening and you feel like, oh, as for this girl, I've seen her on social media before. She is confident, she can dance and all. Don't think that it is because I have 100% confidence. I do a lot of work on myself. And for the people that I get to work with too, we are constantly learning. I mentioned that I'll be mentioning books. These are things I found in books. I think I'm going to share 5 things, and I found them all through reading books. Number 1, oh my goodness, I remind myself that even superstars, and I'm going to show 2 examples, even superstars, people we love and respect, we look at and you're like, oh, even they go through that sometimes. And I found this from reading Marie Forleo's Everything is Figure-outable. It's one of my favorite books. Let's see 2 examples that Marie Forleo talked about in her book. Look at this woman, Maya Angelou. Like, this woman was amazing. Her books, her poems. Sometimes I see her pictures from the 50s. I'm like, wow. I'm getting goosebumps. I haven't even started reading it and I'm already in awe. She said, I have written 11 books, but each time I think, uh-oh, they are going to find out now. I have run a game on everybody and they are going to find me out. Can you believe that? They are going to find you out that what? That you didn't write the books, that you didn't write those poems, that you didn't serve Ghana government and other government. What are they going to find out? That you did what? Isn't it? It's I don't know how to explain it. This thing, imposter syndrome. This woman, after 11 books, even me, with my 3 books, I call myself an author. I don't think I've sold more than 10,000 copies. I think 10,000, I'm even being generous. Maybe 5,000 in total. Even me, I call myself an author. When they call authors, I get up and come. So are you telling me that this woman didn't accomplish, and yet she said this. She said this. Another woman that I admire for her hard work, especially her hard work, well, and the fact that she's never aging. Jennifer Lopez. She said this. Even though I had sold 70 million albums, there I was feeling like I'm no good at this. Huh? No good at this. How? Like, what does it take? What else does she need to accomplish in terms of dancing, her music, and all these other products and services that she offers before she can say, oh, yeah, you know what? I've done well. Let me take that standing ovation. This is imposter syndrome. It is a lie. Like the Nigerians will say, it is a lie. This morning, as I was musing on this, I was like, Ama, so when you know, these thoughts of you not being enough comes into your head, are you trying to tell God that he didn't create an enough being? That he who created you, he didn't make you enough? Like, I feel like it's an insult to God when we allow these thoughts to keep roaming about, dancing agbaja and stuff in our heads, because I think it's so disrespectful for someone to create something. Even us women, you say you cook or you do something and then someone gives a negative comment. See how that feels. And this morning I felt like this is what I'm telling God, that God, I am not enough to go and sit before this fabulous Me Hemaa group. Oh my God, look at them. There's Sika, there's Yawa, there's Genevieve. It means I am insulting my creator by feeling that I am not good enough, that a talent or a gift, something he gave me is not good enough. And it is a lie. It is a lie. So one of the things I do is reminding myself that you know, listen, sister, this thing, people feel it. I don't know the history of how it came about, but it's there. So the first thing for me is to be aware. And if you are following me, I would like to see in the chat, I am. Just let me know that you are following. Tip number 2, also from another book, We Should All Be Millionaires. If you haven't read this is your cue. Go get it. I love this book. My daughter says, I say that about every book. Rachel gives another strategy or like tactic or whatever to use. And I use this. Track your victories as they happen. You know, journal them. Like I even used to keep a journal of things I'm grateful for, you know, in a day. And I have stopped doing that. I do a different kind of journal. But you can just put them somewhere. Or did I have a friend? I think I know someone who used to keep her victories in view on her board or something. Yes, someone in my mastermind, because she knew that every time we came for our mastermind session, the first question I would ask is, what are your wins? So she said she used to write it. One of the things I also do, so this is my office, I have some of my vision boards here and then some down in my room. I used to, and then I've had my first vision board session with Yawa, who was on the call. I don't know if she's still on. Amazing woman. And I used to, you know, do like when I accomplished whatever was on the vision board, I would take it off and then just put it away or something. So I'm like, oh, God has done it. But you know what? Recently, I stopped taking it off completely. I mean, I did take it off, but I have an envelope. It's right here at the back. I call it, I forgot, like answered prayers. I think, yeah, that's the name, answered prayers. And these are things that you look at and you're like, oh, God did this for me, so that is also possible. Oh, I was able to achieve this, so this other thing, I can achieve it. You know, sometimes in low moments, we forget all that we are capable of. We forget who we are. We even forget that we are children of God. And this is why reminders help. So for me, I am like on our fridge, I have on it two of our fridges. One has I am enough, and it's so big. I intentionally put it there, not just for me, but I wanted my children to even grow up seeing things like that, because you never know when in life they will need that. One is I am enough, the other one is I am worthy downstairs. I would write on bathroom, I would stick on papers and then just put there all these things just to, sort of remind me. So this is not necessarily a victory, but the whole concept is you just want to be reminded in your low moments or in your moments where, nothing that much is happening. You need to have something to help you re-energize yourself to see that, that's my girl, So track your victories as they happen. Whatever victory means to you, for me, it could be a testimonial. On Instagram, I have a whole folder for testimonials that sometimes I just go and read. I'm like, oh my God, sometimes I forget, especially when things are not going well. This is when we forget. So track it. This is tip number 2. Another book I love. Jamie Kern Lima. She's recently written another book that I haven't read yet, but hopefully I will. Believe it. Hey, this book. Anyway, I'm not talking about the book, but something she shared. You see how I mentioned in the beginning that I had this award. I mean, it wasn't an award, it was a nomination, and I felt embarrassed to even acknowledge it. I never acknowledged it. Actually, a number of times I've been sent nominations by, there's this other person, Advance something, Media or something, Africa, Ghana. They would nominate me and I'm silent because I feel embarrassed to even go out there and celebrate. I feel like I don't deserve it or something. Sometimes I don't know which is which, whether it's ego or whatever. So I won't even celebrate. But there's a strategy that Jamie talks about, and I love. She said, celebrate to inspire others. And I think that's so true, even for me. Sometimes I look at what others are doing to get inspiration. And so if I am not celebrating because I feel embarrassed, it means that whoever may also need to look at something that I am doing to get inspiration from, I am denying them that. And I thought this is great. Jamie, for instance, talks about how, if you know her story, she had a cosmetic company and they specialized in, I think she had a skin thing, I forgot the name, Rose something. And she was able to get this cosmetic that really made women like her feel okay about themselves and all. She was doing so well in spite of all the challenges. In the end, L'Oreal bought her for over $1 billion. I mean, they didn't buy her, but they bought it, cosmetics. And this woman suddenly became a billionaire, right? Or according to how the world defines these things. And then I think there was a publication in one of these big newspapers naming her as one of the world's richest or something like that. It's been a while since I read this book. And she says she felt, she didn't want to celebrate it. Why? Why exactly? Meanwhile, apparently, studies have shown that for some men, when they get onto these lists, and when they mention your worth, your net worth, they'll say, say Bill Gates, 5 billion or whatever, Donald Trump, then they mention the amount. She said some men would even go to the newspaper, to the source and tell them, you know what, actually you got my figure right. I actually make double that, and they will bring their bank statements to prove that they've earned more. And this is a woman who had publicly gotten so much money and she felt embarrassed to celebrate. This is what sometimes we do. I haven't gotten to earning 1 billion, not even $1 million, but I don't know. When that time comes, will I sit here and say, hey, others have done billions, so mine is not enough? My God, when I am now praying for that 10 million, do you get it? Why are we not celebrating? And this is ministering to me myself because I'm really that kind of person. Like, why? But why? Why? So anyway, on the days that you're feeling that, oh, you know what, I don't want to celebrate, do it to inspire others. Look beyond you and do it to inspire others. Sometimes I know we are like, oh, but people on social media will think, or wherever will think I am too known. Was it Yawa who mentioned that? You know, people will say all sorts of things. And my question to myself is, why am I looking at the naysayers? Are they the ones I am ministering to? Are they the ones I have been called to? Even Jesus, how much more me? Do you get it? So it, like, where is our focus when we are doing these things? When we are celebrating, is it to, how do we say it in Ghana? How do we say it? To spite someone? Is that the reason? Or you're celebrating because something amazing has happened due to your hard work, the team you work in, God's blessings, favor, and all, and you want to do this celebration to God's glory? Why make this about you being or having ego? Or, I mean, I don't understand. Where is our focus really? So when we are celebrating to inspire others, but not to show off. Aha, that's the word, the phrase I was looking for. Not to show off. It is not about show off. And the final thing is, no, actually, I think I have 5. So this is the last but one. Form a fraud squad. This I got from Marie Folio's book, Everything is Figure Outable. So a fraud squad, it's like, you know, she just made it up, but this is like a group, a mastermind, a group of, could be women, men and women or whatever, but a supportive community, like the Me Hemaa Community. I heard Papa talking about buddies. I was like, that's amazing. We call that accountability partners. These are a group of people you meet with, and then you share, and you talk about stuff. You support each other. I have been working with an amazing group since, I don't know, I think we've been meeting for the past 3 or 4 years. Sometimes we are not consistent, but we know everyone is there for each other. And when we need support, we call. And one of the things Marie says do is, on the days when you're feeling low, you're feeling like, oh God, I'm not good enough. Like I've been invited to do something and I feel like I can't do it. I'm laughing because this is something that happens to me sometimes. You call your friends and say, you know, say if the friend is Jennifer, can you remind me again of how awesome I am? You just need someone to remind you because sometimes you forget. So I love the concept of the fraud squad. I call my mastermind. I also have a group of ladies I work with in my mastermind. We are even about to launch another one, but this is what we do for each other. One of the masterminds, we started it for business, but then we would go and then sometimes we put the business aside. We are tearing up over divorce, over baby issues, family issues. And we know that we don't have to worry about this thing getting out of here because it is a safe space for all of us. And I'm happy for everyone in this community because you have Me Hemaa Community. If you don't, please, please, please find a community of a squad that will stand by you, cheer you on, tell you, but Ama, you can do it. I have a lady. When I was in the US some years back, I was feeling very low one day and I called her. I was speaking about her. The way she spoke to me, I felt, excuse me, I felt so stupid for even feeling down. She made me, I got this renewed energy. You know, everybody needs that person who speaks into you and you feel like, I'm a lioness, man. I am a giant. You feel like I can do it. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. The final strategy is affirmations. Well, I call it, the whole point about affirmations for me is reprogramming your brain. So I've been doing a lot of reading and I found out that actually our subconscious mind develops by the age of 7 and there is nothing we can do about it as it is unless we intentionally change it. And so a lot of these mindset issues we've had, sometimes, you wish you could do something, you really desire to do it, but you're not doing it because there is something in your past, as in your childhood. There's a mentality or a mindset that you formed that is so difficult to change. So no matter what you are doing outwardly, you are not changing it. You need to go in and then reprogram your mind. One of the strategies that I learned also from reading was affirmations. You know, one of the current books I'm reading, it's called Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, by T. Harv Eker. He talks about how thoughts influence your feelings and how feelings influence your actions in this order. I've seen different variations of this, but basically what's in here needs to be programmed. This is why I am constantly writing my affirmations. I speak them, I write them. Sometimes I just say them in my head, especially those times when I used to be very afraid of flying on small aircraft. I used to just recite Psalm 23 in my mind like no one's business, you know? This particular one, if you can see the date on this is 02/08/2024. This morning, this was my actual affirmation. I am anchored in Christ, my helper. Every morning during my quiet time, sometimes I'm not consistent, you know how it is, but at least 5 days a week, when I come and sit up here, have my candle on, smelling good, it's just me and God. I do my quiet time. I read the Bible, I read my devotional, I pray, and I write my affirmation. And please, I know what affirmations have done for me. The sort of things I used to battle with now, when I'm in that zone that I am going into, like I don't believe something, an affirmation easily comes to me. One of the easiest is I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I love writing that. I have a wonderful, I serve wonderful clients and get paid wonderfully well. This one, I got it from this book. Oh my God, Florence's book, The Game of Life and How to Play. I really love reading books because, like I said earlier, it was through books that God finally got to me. That's a story for another day. And since then, I don't joke with reading because for me, that is how I, reading, listening to people sometimes as well, observing and all that. But yeah, back to the point of affirmation. I don't know. Are you someone who is also big on affirmations? Is it working for you? I've been journaling forever, but I only recently started affirmations, maybe 6 or so years ago, after reading You Are a Badass by Jensen Cheru. Yeah. It was in that book that it really got hammered in me. So I'm rounding up now. What have I spoken about? What imposter syndrome is? Some of the common myths. I shared 4 of the myths. Some strategies that we can use to nurture confidence so that we can overcome that lie. It is a lie. It is not true. Even the word fabulous, the reason I chose that word fabulous for my organization is through Marianne Williamson's poem, Let Your Light Shine, Our Deepest Fear. I wanted that fabulous to be something I would always remind myself of. Because actually, I am fabulous. Women are fabulous. Like the sort of things we're able to do with the little, it's amazing. Like, how do we even do? We are like magicians. And yet sometimes we belittle ourselves because of what? And we disrespect our Creator. So I've shared these, and I'd like to know in the chat, one thing you are taking away from this conversation. Just one thing. So type in the chat. One thing I'm taking away from this conversation is, and the last thing I will say is that, as Na mentioned, I've written 3 books. These 2 are the ones I have copies of, but all of them are on Amazon. Yarns of Inspiration II has 33 stories of some of my experiences. And as you can see underneath, an entrepreneur's quest to succeed in spite of low self-esteem, fear, and self-doubt. Oh my goodness. Thank God for people like Yawa. Thank God for Sika. Genevieve. Thank God for Genevieve. I have never told her this, but Genevieve At the time I saw her this big woman, and she is like, I respected her. And for her to have paid to come for my event, I thought, oh my God, I may be onto something. It is sad that sometimes we need external validation. But anyway, I share some of these stories there. And then I wrote a book on networking because honestly, it's not because of networking that today I get to sit in front of women like you, Dr. Susie, women like Melody. Melody and I were in Legon years ago. I think it's been how many years? 18 or so years since we last met. There's such an amazing power in networking, and I specifically wrote this for students and startups. And if you're interested in copies and you're in Ghana, the number is there, +233-244-339-970. If you're out of Ghana, you're on Amazon, you can get your copy. And this is how you can reach me on LinkedIn, Instagram, my website, and then the contact as well. On this note, thank you very much. Now, I want to just quickly read through the chat, but now you can come back to the screen and do your thing. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm really, really grateful.
Hi, thank you very much, Ama, for sharing. These are great nuggets that we've learned about imposter syndrome. Should I read the comments to you, or you'd want to read them yourself?
Please go ahead and read them.
Okay, definitely. So what people are taking away, one, to track their victories. Well, Maureen says she's taken away, track your victories as they happen, the power of small wins. Yaga Noma says, I am taking away the fact that imposter syndrome is an insult to God. This is one thing that hits me hard. I can really relate to that. And I am also taking away the fact that I need to
feel afraid.
Fraud squad to remind me of how awesome I am. And
sometimes I feel lost or scared or in doubt. But I'll tell you this.
Zoom Master,
when I do,
I can hear.
I hearken to the words of King David.
Hi, Zoom Master Ubalda. Okay, thank you very much for that. Okay, I will continue. Dr. Susie says, celebrate your wins to inspire others to become better versions of themselves. And Jennifer says, I am taking away that imposter syndrome is experienced by many so-called accomplished people. Well done, partner. She says, well done to you. And Melody says, congratulations, Ama. You're an inspiration. And Mami says, inspire for others. I do not see any questions on here, but I would like to share these things that I have taken from the beginning of your presentation. And Papa says he's taken Psalm 23. And from your very beginning, when you started the questions about not deserving an award that you've been given, you excelled beyond your imagination. You wrote an exam and you excelled beyond your imagination. And then you doubt the praise that you receive. These are some things that you can attribute to imposter syndrome. Or these are how you can note that you have some imposter syndrome in you. And now I would like to, it happened to me when I was writing my bio for this program. Actually, I didn't know what to write because I felt like, what have I done? What am I even going to put there? Everybody is some big woman. We have Dr. Susie, we have Dr. Das, we have Ama, we have all this, we have Melody, we have Maureen. What am I going to write? Like, that's how I felt. But eventually I came up with something and I wrote it. So I can very much relate to this, and I'm grateful to Papa for giving me the opportunity to moderate your session. It really spoke to me, and I'm grateful for that. So these are the strategies that I am taking away. Yes, Papa, that was why I kept you waiting forever for the bio. Thank you very much, Maureen. And so these are the strategies I'm taking away to remind myself and be aware. I should also track my victories as they happen, celebrate my wins to inspire others, and to form a fraud squad who can remind me of how awesome I am. And finally, reprogram my brain. That is my thoughts, my feelings, and my actions. Thank you so much, Ama. It's been an awesome time with you. And I'm sure we have all picked lessons like I have. And I've picked books as well. The books I should go and read. Like, we should all be millionaires. That is one thing I should actually go and read. And I'm grateful for the time with you all. Thank you very much for having me. And thank you, Ama, once again. Over to you, MCs.